This is Dar es Salaam, capital of Tanzania. In the Swahili language, the name means peaceful harbor. In the southeast of the city, there's a railway station built in a Chinese style, which is the starting point of the Tanzania-Zambia Railway. These two southern African countries are thousands of miles away from China. Yet this 1,860-kilometer-long railway linking these two African countries is known in every Chinese home. It all started in the 1960s, soon after Tanzania and Zambia freed themselves from British colonial rule. In the early days of their independence, the two countries were poor and eager to develop. Meanwhile, other countries in southern Africa remained under the colonial rule of Western powers, and their societies were plagued by racial discrimination. In order to develop their own economies and support the national liberation movements across southern Africa, Tanzania and Zambia decided they needed to be linked by a railway. September 5th, 1967. An agreement was signed in Beijing by three countries, China, Tanzania, and Zambia, on building the Tanzania-Zambia Railway. Under the agreement, the Chinese government undertook to assist in the railway's construction. The news created shockwaves across the Western world. Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai said that the railway was being built not only for Tanzania and Zambia, but for the whole African continent. Once the railway was built, Africa could say that where the West was not willing to lend a helping hand, China was. The Chinese survey teams struggled through the unpopulated and animal-infested African jungles to open up roads and conduct survey work. They faced constant hardship and danger. The railway would cut across vast, desolate areas. In the course of 2 years, the Chinese surveyors walked for more than 5,000 kilometers to draw up the blueprint for the future railway. On the front line, the Chinese construction teams braved the extreme heat, shortages of food and medicine, and the difficulties of transport and communication. Above all, though, it was the shortage of fresh water that was their number one problem.
尤其在旱季，这个河里面的水，这个也不多，而且他们很多的工作场所也不靠着水边，有的时候实在干的没办法，怎么办呢？就得喝这个大象那个脚印子，踩着脚印子那个水坑里面的水。
In the United States, it was predicted it would take 25 years to complete the Tanzania-Zambia Railway, but the Chinese finished the job in just 6 years.
我们还有49位工程技术人员集中在这工地上。不久前，文家宝总理访问，在访问坦桑尼亚的时候，评价了这些烈士的墓地。 很不容易的，那这铁路就是我们自己在国内建，并不容易。我还记得，它大概的长度，铁路的整个路程相当于从北京经过天津、浦口、南京、上海、杭州到金华，这么长一条铁路线，而且，坦桑尼亚和赞比亚这两个 国家的地形地貌比刚才我提到我们国内这段铁路线地形地貌要复杂的多，遇到的情况要困难得多。
祖国人民和坦赞两国人民感谢他们做出的无私奉献，他们的功绩 将永远铭记在我们心中。
The opening of the Tanzania-Zambia Railway gave a great boost to economic development and urban-rural exchange in and between the two countries. The railway injected fresh dynamism into economic development all along its route. The Kilimanjaro, a passenger train that runs along the Tanzania-Zambia Railway, was actually produced in China. The passengers it carries are from not only Tanzania and Zambia, but also such neighboring countries as Congo, Kenya, Uganda, and Malawi. Over the years, cooperation between the three countries, China, Tanzania, and Zambia, in the field of railway construction and operation has encountered many new opportunities, as well as challenges. In the future, as in the past, with the sincere help of the Chinese people, the industrious and resourceful people of Tanzania and Zambia will work out new approaches as the new circumstances demand, so that this iron and steel lifeline will continue to serve the revitalization of Africa. Just 4 kilometers outside Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, lies the country's biggest sports complex. Every part of this building is a witness to the deep friendship between the peoples of China and Kenya. It took 10 years from December 1982 to April 1992 to complete this huge project. Many Chinese construction teams came and went, but the memory of them all hard at work will live on in the minds of the Kenyan people. Most African countries are agricultural, and people engaged in agriculture account for 70% of the continent's population. Clearly, agriculture plays a vital role in the African economy. But agriculture in Africa remains at a very low level, and food shortages on this ancient continent remain a serious problem. During the 20 years from the late 1950s to the late 1970s, China gave assistance to nearly 180 agriculture-related projects in Africa. They included establishing agricultural technology experimental stations, promoting agricultural technology, and setting up large-scale farms to process local produce. Guinea is a good example. Located in West Africa, it borders the Atlantic Ocean in the west. In one of its regions, Conakry, people observe some unusual customs. For instance, they have coffee and bread for breakfast, like in a lot of European countries. But for lunch and dinner, they eat rice with a kind of soup, in the Chinese way. Before 1997, rice was very rare in this area. Of the little there was, most was of poor quality. But in 1997, the Chinese government started working with Guinea's Agricultural Engineering Bureau to set up several joint venture farms producing rice. The local people quickly developed a taste for the more refined rice, and it soon became the staple food.
Sidu kola male, nonon tanga borokwe dangi, mugube